Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. අද ඔසිදි මට මේ sharing දීලා නැහනේ.
සර් මම සර්ව හොස්ට් කරලා තියෙන්නේ සර්.
මම හොස් කරාද?
ඔව්.
මට share කරන්න බෑ කියනවා. Post disable participant screen sharing කියනවා.
පොඩ්ඩක් ඉන්න සර් මම බලන්න. සර් චුට්ටක් දැන් බලන්න.
තාම එනවා host disable participant screen sharing කියලා. මට share කරන්න බෑ.
පොඩ්ඩක් මම ඉන්න සර් බලන්න.
තාම මට host එක assign වෙලා නැහැ.
සර් දැන් බලන්න මම ආයේ මේවා කරා.
Now I think should looks like okay.
ඕකේ.
හරි නේද? පේනව නේද මගේ screen එක?
ඔව් සර්.
Right. තාම 4 දෙනයි නේද ඉන්නේ? අපි පටන් ගන්නවා. තව පොඩ්ඩක් විනාඩියක් දෙනවද?
විනාඩි දෙක තුනක් බලමු සර්.
Sure. All right. Okay.
Shall we start, sir? I think others will join, sir.
Yeah, we can start. So, good evening, everyone. This is actually, I welcome you for this particular session. It was supposed to, it was actually scheduled for yesterday, but I think there was unfortunately, there was a power failure in my end. But I told Oshadi to reschedule it for today at around 7:27. But after about 5 minutes, I got the power, but it's already late. So sorry about that. This thing. So I just welcome you for this particular session. Uh, I mean, any foreign students here? Because I want to actually just
Yes,
use
sir.
the
I'm
yeah
in
you're
Saudi Arabia, sir.
right. Okay, right, fine. That means like you that means like okay, fine. All right, okay. So uh um, basically I'm Susitha. Uh, uh, Not purely in the academic sector, but I'm in actually private sector. I'm working in a company, but at the same time I do the academic things as well, especially in this public procurement MSc in the Open University. Uh, I take this lecture as an optional one, the procurement information systems and e-commerce under your the procurement module. Uh, I just completed my doctorate. Actually, one of your professors, Professor Renuka, is one of my supervisors. That's how I got introduced here. So if you select the change management as your one of your optional subjects, probably we'll meet again, right? So this is one area that I'm actually going to touch base. Right. So when it comes to now today, what we are going to focus on is actually the procurement information systems and e-commerce, right? Now, when it comes to procurement information systems and e-commerce, that is actually it's a broader area where we have to think, we have to look into a lot of other areas. But what I wanted to highlight you here is like I wanted to more before that we jump into these the procurement and information systems. Now it's actually a part of a digital transformation journey in any company. Now in your case, it's mainly the public procurement, procurement and supply chain, right? But let's take that as an external organization, like kind of business scenario. So now when it comes to procurement, like e-procurement or digital conversation, when we talk about that, it is actually a part of a digital transformation. So because of that only, that I thought that we'll set some context behind of understanding why we need this procurement systems or e-commerce kind of scenario, right? So in order to put some context now, okay, the objectives of today's these things to first for us to understand what are the available procurement systems, right? And also what it benefits, why we use procurement systems, and what is that actually we call it about e-commerce, what are we talking about e-commerce, etc. So that those are the outcomes. But before that, I would like to turn your attention to a very basics of this subject, right? Now you may have come up with different levels, different calibers and all that, but please bear with me because I wanted to take from the basics to set some context to our today's subject uh, knowledge, subject matter, right? So now when it comes to business, or even it could be government, it could be private or non-profitable organization, right? We all talk about these terminology. One is digitalization, some people call digitization, right? And also digital transformation, right? So these are certain buzzwords that we talk in our businesses, as well as it could be private or public sector. These are some of the terminology when you are talking about systems or technology, I would say, in a broader way, right? So can anyone shed some light now? What is digitization, digitalization, digital transformation? Any thoughts? I would like to have some thoughts from you all. Any thoughts? Nobody's talking.
Digitalization is it is kind of change into one sector to other. I mean, one stage to another stage, kind of.
Right. Okay. Then what is digitization?
That is
I mean,
my
there's no right or wrong
understanding.
answer. Yeah. There's no right or wrong answer. I just wanted to share, because now you're not at the undergraduate levels. You're actually at postgraduate levels. So it's just a matter of transferring knowledge, right? I transfer my knowledge and you transfer your knowledge, and we share all our knowledge. So that's what we are trying to do here. Okay. So it's not like that. I'm trying to feed you with information throughout this 2 or 2.5 hours, but just to share thoughts and share information, and we learn together, right? So I mean, I want all of you all to just give your thoughts and give your voice to understand these certain concepts. Okay. Now you said, okay, digitization. What is digitization then?
Converting hard copies to soft copies. That means data which are in hard formats are converting into a soft format. It is called digitalization.
Perfect. Good. Now, yes. Now,
It simply says the analog to digital data, no?
absolutely. So what is digital transformation then? Any thoughts?
Transformation is the practical part.
Practical part in the sense?
It is the implementation.
Right. So good. I mean, it's good that you are engaging. I really like that, because now I'll just explain the concept of these three. Okay. Now, digitization, as you rightly said, digitization is actually converting our analog things to digital format, right? Now, this digitization we talked about long time ago, right? That's where we start talking about, okay, say that we are converting the forms into digital, or we take scan copies and keep it digital. So anything that we do in analog form, we convert that information, that data, especially the data, right, into a digital form, right? For example, say that, okay, api isara passport eකට apply karana, sorry, is that all right that I use Sinhala and English both? Everybody understands?
Yes.
Yeah, fine. All right. So what I said was like, I mean, think that, okay, if I wanted to apply a passport earlier, those days, I have to fill a form and then all that, and then they keep the form and all that. That is now, but nowadays that what happens is like, I mean, not nowadays. Take about several years back. Again, they had the manual form, but that actually they convert that into a scan copy and they absorb that into a digital form, right? Now what they do is they actually ask us to give that data in a digital form, in a digital format, right? So it's basically digitization is basically that how we convert certain data from an analog form to a digital platform. We convert that into a digital platform, right? So it was actually long time back, this particular concept, digitization, right? It's a long time back this concept was there. Now then it actually transformed and came to a concept called digitalization, right? Digitalization. Now digitalization is not actually transforming data into a digital form, but digitalization is actually converting the process, right, into a digital a platform. We adopt certain digital technology, digital solutions, and convert the processes, the way that we work, right? And start using those digital techniques in order to execute the processes, right? So that is what we call digitalization, right? And then when it comes to digital transformation, which we are currently talking, I mean, like, this is the buzzword right now, right? We don't nowadays we don't talk about digitization. We don't talk about digitalization much. We talk about digital transformation, right? Now, what does it mean, digital transformation? Now, digital transformation means, like, it's not about the data, it's not about the process, it's about the way that we do business, right? When it comes to business, I'm not talking about private enterprise, but I'm talking about even public and also non-profitable enterprises, right? Any enterprise, any business, right? The way that they do business, right, transforms using these digital technologies and solutions. That's what we basically call digital transformation, right? Now, I have actually taken certain things. Now, this is digitization a definition, right? Now, keep in mind, now you are MSc, so your definitions are like kind of අපි ඉස්සර අටේ පන්තියේ පද්මමිස් කිව්වා වගේ පදාර්ථයක් අවකාශයේ ඉන්න ඉඩක් ගන්න fast rules in
Sir,
definition.
excuse
Definition is
me.
actually,
Sir, yeah, there is an
yes.
interruption in the connection. I am
Yeah.
not sure whether it is with me or with all others.
No, with sir, I think you have some interruptions. Sir. I also can't hear you sometimes.
I have is it that they are baking?
Now we can hear, sir.
I think,
You
sir, now
Sometime,
you have off your camera. I think now it
Mhm.
would be better.
I didn't off my. Shall I off that for the moment? For a moment. Let me stop sharing. Shall I off my video and try? Is it better now?
It's better. It's better.
Right. Okay, so what I was telling was, like, there's no, I mean, like, there when it comes to your level, like kind of messy level, there's no I don't believe in definitions. Okay, so definitions අපි පොඩි කාලේ ඉගෙන ගත්තා වගේ එහෙම ඉගෙන ගන්න නැහැ. But definitions, that you come up with certain definitions, but for your understanding, for your learning purpose, I thought that this definition in this particular reference scope, right, actually explains what is digitization, right? Digitalization, right, is, and also what is digital transformation. Now, I don't want to talk about digitization or digitalization. Sorry, I would like to stick with digital transformation. Now, when it comes to digital transformation, why I selected this was it actually gives you a certain key areas, right? Now it says digital transformation is a profound and accelerating transformation of business activities, right? It's a transformation of business activities, processes, right? So it actually changes the way that you currently work. And then competencies, it actually improves and influence of the competencies that you currently have, and molds to fully leverage the changes and opportunities of digital technologies and their impact across society in a strategic and prioritized way, right? So it actually talk about the whole transformation, digitalization, right? And it gives certain keyword buzzwords, saying that these are actually the transformative ones. One is like, it's actually, those are the business activities, processes, and competencies. It's not talk about the data. It's not talk about only the processes, but it talks about the entire business per se, right? Which actually impacts the, and also the strategies of the business, right? So now I don't want you to remember these definitions. That's what I said. I mean, at your level, you don't have to remember these definitions, but you have to understand what these terminology means, and you should be able to explain in your, right? Now, when it comes to transformation, right? When it comes to a transformation, a digital transformation, we talk about actually two levels. Two transformation. One is evolutionary level, right? Now, let's talk about a little about what is evolutionary level. Now, evolution means that, okay, in that level of transformation, we are talking about a localized. That means, like, for an example, අපි හිතමුකෝ අපේ department එකක් තියෙනවා මොකක් හරි. අපි හිතමු අපේ procurement department එකක් තියෙනවා කියලා. So when we take about that procurement or supply chain department, right? So if you are introducing any, if you are changing the way that you work within that particular department, again, a procurement department එක ඇතුලේ මොකක් හරි transformation එකක් කරනවා නම් using technology, right? Now, and also if we actually try to integrate certain other things, අපි තුමු procurement එකත් එක්ක finance එක ඒවත් එක්ක පොඩ්ඩක් එකතු කරලා, right? We are trying to integrate, right? Internal integration. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි ඇතුලේ අපේ integrate කරන්න උත්සාහ කරනවා. We call it as a evolutionary level a transformation, right? And but when it comes to revolutionary level transformation, that means that we are not talking about an internal transformation, but we are actually redesigning the entire business process. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි දැන් කරන විදිය මොකක් හරි විදිහකට කරනවා. For an example, if you take about, if I'm raising a purchase order, if I'm making a decision on the purchase order, right? We completely redefine that process by using certain digital technologies and solutions, right? And also, it is not only the localized. That means, like, it is not only relevant only for my particular department or that a vicinity එකේ තියෙනවා විතරක් නෙමෙයි, right? But it has an organizational level, right? මුළු organization එක, මේ process එක, entire process එක, entire procurement process එක මම change කරනවා, which has an impact on finance, myself, and also the operations department, everything, right? Together, right? Which change, and also that which can impact even for the business scope, right? We completely redefine. That's what we call kind of evolutionary, a change in transformation, right? So you need to understand the difference between evolutionary and revolutionary. Evolutionary is limited scope. But revolution means that you are talking about your entire business scope. Sometimes සමහරට අපි business එක සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම කරන විදිහ entire වෙන්න පුළුවන්. අපි මේ technologies use කරලා the way that I'll give you an example later on, right? How we can completely transform the way that we do current business or the way that we work, right, can be changed. That's what we call revolutionary levels of transformation, right? Any questions on this up to now? And keep in mind, when I always refer as business. Business means not the private organization. Business means that I'm talking about, it could be private, which is the profit organizations, plus public as well as non-profitable organization. I'm talking about business as an entity. Okay. Any thoughts or any questions? Nothing? Right. Right. So now these are actually the actually just in terms of why should businesses change? May businesses when known. Any thoughts? Any thoughts? May අපිට අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ මේ business transformation, business overall transformation එකක් ඇයි අපිට අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ? ඇයි මේව transform වෙන්න ඕන? කියන්න බෑ. Any thoughts?
For the sustainability of the
This
entity.
thing is yes, sustainability of the entity. Okay. What else? Any thoughts?
Profit.
Good. Profit. Yeah, definitely.
For transparency.
What else?
Transparency.
Transparency. Yeah. Okay. All that is right. Okay. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer, right? So we all can give certain answers. Now, the key reason, right? Reasons why we need this transformation, why we need this business transformation, right? I'm not talking about digitization or digitalization. Okay, in this concept, I'm talking about the transformation. Okay, now why do we need transformation? Have you heard the word of the concept word of VUCA? Huh? What is this? We say that we are in the VUCA world. What is that?
Virtual.
What is that? Sorry?
Virtual.
Okay, I'll explain to you. Now, VUCA is actually shows one is volatile.
Uncertainty, complexity, and
Exactly. Uncertainty.
complexity.
And
Complex.
see? Exactly. Complex. And
Ambiguity.
absolutely. Ambiguity. Now, the scholars, not scholars, in the business world, we say that we are in this VUCA world, right? This VUCA world. VUCA is actually, as she rightly said, these are the meanings of VUCA, right? Now, volatile, right? Volatile. We are in a world that it's really unpredictable, right? It's so volatile, right? We don't know what will happen next, right? It can change the customer's demand. Now when it comes to customer, don't think about again the private profit organization. It can be even a local government organization I'm talking about, right? The expectations of the customers are different. It changes, right? And it's so volatile that we don't know what the customers need is going to be and how the businesses are going to get operated, right? and it is very, very, very uncertain, right? Uncertain. What do you mean by uncertain? අපිට හිතන්න බෑ ඊළඟට මොනවා වෙයිද කියලා. Now, for example, see that what happened. I mean, we never expect to for COVID to come, right? We never expected that, right? So suddenly COVID came. So uncertain, right? So we don't know what will happen next. ඊළඟ දැන් COVID වගේ තව මොකක් කරේද අපි දන්නේ නැහැ. අපිට ආවනේ අපි we went through COVID and we went through the economic crisis and all that. So it's so uncertain, right? So එතකොට අපේ business එක very uncertain. අපි කරගෙන යන විදිහ හරියට මේ විදිහටම කරගෙන යන්න පුළුවන්ද කියන is very, very uncertain, right? And also it's very complex, right? Now I'm not a guru of like I'm not thorough experience in terms of public organizations, but in when it comes to private organizations, now we are living very, very complex situations, right? Now, for example, now I'm into the textile and apparel industry, right? So uncertain, right? It's not like the way that we used to work 10 15 years ago, right? It is like kind of the demands of the customers. I mean, so uncertain. The complexity is too much, right? Now, අපි ඉස්සර කරනකොට අපි අපි එක product එකක් ආවොත්, අපි එක style එකක් ආවොත්, we continuously produce millions of pieces. දැන් එහෙම නැහැ. Now it's so complex. The styles are so complex. මිනිසුන්ගේ requirements so complex, right? So it is very, very complex when it comes to the needs of the people. And it's very ambiguity, right? සමහර දේවල් අපි දන්නේ මොනවද වෙන්නේ කියලා, right? It's very ambiguous. සමහර දේවල් මිනිස්සුන්ගේ needs, අපේ all that, right? So with all these, we say that we are actually living in this kind of a VUCA world, right? We are living in this VUCA world, right? Volatile, uncertainty, complex, and ambiguity. That is one thing, right? Because is it clear? So this is one reason, right? One thing. And then
Sir,
go ahead.
can I elaborate that volatile and uncertainty? What is the difference in between that one, sir? Volatile and uncertainty.
Yeah, now the
Volatile and uncertainty.
Yeah, volatility means that actually we cannot we cannot predict certain things. Now, for example, if you say that now if I talk from my own language on my industry, right? Now earlier we had like kind of very clear peaks and valleys, right? අපි දන්නවා මේ season එකේදී අපිට හොඳටම orders එනවා. දැන් මේ season එක වෙනකොට අපිට orders අඩු වෙනවා, right? So then අපිට එහෙම predict කරන්න බෑ. It's very difficult to predict that. අපිට කියන්න බෑ මේ season එකේ මෙන්න මෙහෙ වෙනවා, මෙන්න මේ season එකේ මේ විදිහට down වෙනවා කියන එක. We cannot predict that, right? It's very unpredictable. So that's what we call it's the volatility. It's always continuously changing, right? Volatile means that, right? So you cannot have a pattern. It's actually changing without our knowledge, right? So api for an example, api කියමුකෝ again මම මගේ industry එකම ගන්නම්. So api ඉස්සර කරොත් අපි හිතමු let's say that we are producing garments for summer, right? That is the most peak season when it comes to Sri Lankan context, right? But then එහෙම කියන්න බෑ. Now you can't say that summer is the most අපි ගොඩක් orders ගන්නේ summer එකේ කියලා is we cannot say that. It's very, very, very unpredictable, right? හිටපු ගාම summer එකේ අඩු වෙන්න පුළුවන්, winter එකේ වැඩි වෙන්න පුළුවන්, all that. So there's no pattern, right? Earlier we saw a pattern, now there's no pattern. It's unpredictable. Now uncertainty කියන්නේ we don't know what will happen in the future. We don't know what will happen tomorrow. We don't know what will happen next month, right? As I said, something may come, right? COVID may come, or Trump may put certain tariffs on top of that. So very uncertainty. We don't know what are the events that can happen next day in the next very moment. right? So that's the difference between volatility. Volatility is like kind of we see a certain patterns, but actually we cannot predict that. Uncertainty means that certain events can happen which we can't predict, right? Did I answer your question?
Yes, yeah. It is that that mean that volatile mean still we can see that some changes is happening like this way, but uncertainty mean it is sudden changes again. I mean,
Sudden events, yes, sudden occurrence,
sudden
right?
events,
Yeah, sudden
which is
events.
coming,
Go ahead.
which is coming from some other party, other uh, based on other event. I mean, some kind of.
Correct. Based on external factors, it could be internal factors as well, right? Then අපි හිතමුකෝ දැන් the external factor එකක් තමයි අපි නිකන් හිතමුකෝ දැන් apparel manufacturing company එකක් කියලා. So එතකොට external factor එකක් තමයි Trump's tariff. That can have an impact to me. හරි? That's an external factor, right? We don't know what level. So Trump immediately නිදාගන්න කියලා හෙට උදේට tariff එකක් ගන්නවා. එතකොට අපිට ප්‍රශ්නයක් එනවා, right? At the same time, there could be certain internal factors. Now, for an example, I just give maybe not the best example to give you, but like next week, suddenly the workers may go on strike, right? We don't know based on certain other influences. It could be certain political influences that we don't know what will happen. That those kind of things can happen, right? So it could be external or internal. Now these volatilities, all these VUCA factors can be external or internal. So that you need to keep in mind. So it can be either way, right? Clear?
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So now this is what we call about the VUCA factors, right? Now there are other certain factors. I think I make it clear. Let me try. This is not moving. Let me make a marker on the bag. Yeah, let's take a new whiteboard. So another reason is, I think, again, that you'll know all these, right? You must definitely know. I mean, maybe Professor Renuka or somebody must have already taken you through. We have something called pestle factors. What are those? What is this? Pestle. Now, earlier talking.
Environmental.
Exactly. Yes.
Technological, economical, and legal.
Exactly. You are from marketing or what?
No, sir. I am from supply chain.
Okay, right. Because you know all these, right? So economical and
Others are also knows. No, others also know, sir, but they don't
They don't
like
talk.
to show my.
They don't talk.
I think they know more than me.
Oh,
They don't like to switch on mic.
that's the problem. And then environmental and legal, right? Now these factors also affect into the way that we do business. Again, I'm reiterating, when I'm saying we are doing business, I'm not talking about only a private sector. I'm talking about even a public sector. I'm talking about public sector as well as non-profitable organizations. Okay. Now, definitely the political factors certainly will have an effect, right? We know all that. I mean, certain policies and all those kind of things now a very clear impact of this political factor is අපේ ලංකාවට impact වෙච්ච එක තමයි Trump get tariffs, right? So he imposed certain tariffs that it impacts many industries which we have in Sri Lanka, right? So that I mean, that's an example of political factors, right? And then obviously the economical factors. Because Mama explained being a Sri Lankan, we know exactly what are the things that actually impacts now, for an example, the interest rates and the exchange rates, all those kind of things actually impacts on to our day-to-day businesses, right? And in our businesses. Similarly, the social factors, right? It could be the social implications, that could be the age, it could be certain things. Now you can see what is happening around Sri Lanka, right? I mean, you're trying to reform certain educational thing, but there are certain social factors coming to play, and it has certain implications into that, right? And one of the key thing is the way that we do business transform is through the technological factors, because technology is evolving faster than that we even think of, right? It evolves so fast, right, that even that we can think of. So uh, the technological factors are having a huge impact now. That's why I think now even Sri Lanka, that we are talking about digital economy and all that, because now the new generation actually needs that. That's the demand of those generation, and also what we think of, right? And obviously the environmental factors, a key factor now. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe public sector have that much of an effect, but even in private sector, and especially in our industry, when we talk about apparel and textile, environmental factors play a key major role, right? It has now. If you are not focusing on these environmental factors, you are not in the business. You are not in the game, right? You are out straight, right? And also certain legal factors. Now, these are, one is we are living in the VUCA world, right? And the second is actually we are actually having these pestle factors, right? Now, all these pressures actually pushing us towards what we are. It's actually pushing us towards that we must change the way that we do businesses, right? We must change the way that we do businesses. Actually, the huge pressure comes towards us, the way that we do businesses. Clear? Clear? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hope. Yeah. Silence means okay. I guess that. So this is the VUCA and the pestle. I'll skip this. Right. So I thought that I'll talk about one case study. I mean, I can give you case studies when it comes to private sector, but the public sector, but private sector, I can give enough case studies. The reasons why businesses collapse, or reasons why businesses thrived, for changing and adopting technological transformation due to the factors that we just discussed, right? The VUCA world, the challenges, the uncertainty, plus all the pestle factors together, the people who actually leveraged that, the people that who actually didn't directions, adoption of technology, they collapsed, right? Now, a classic example, I would like to give you this example in this point, is Netflix. I think most of us know what is Netflix right now, right? Most of us know, I'm pretty sure that most of you must be knowing the story of Netflix as well. But I just share some thoughts on how they transform their business, the complete transformation, right? Complete transformation of their business through technology. So, and how they thrive, right? Now, if you read Netflix's history, right? Now, Netflix is actually uh, a company, an organization which rented DVDs, right? Which rented DVDs. Now, if you have if you are in my age, probably in 80s and 90s, we used to have that kind of renting concept in Sri Lanka as well. We had renting of DVD, renting of video cassettes, etc. Those days. අපිට පුළුවන් ගිහලා identity card එක තියලා DVD එක අරන් ගිහලා අපිට බලන්න, right? Which we don't have to purchase. Now, actually, Netflix was that kind of a business model, right? Because blockbuster movies, ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ තිබිච්ච US වල තිබිච්ච blockbusters, those companies, the DVDs were, one thing is very expensive, right? If you wanted to purchase outright. And the second thing is that concentrate වෙලා තිබ්බ certain metropolitan areas, city area විතරයි ඒ වලට access තිබ්බේ නැහැ rural areas වලට, right? So what Netflix did was, Netflix actually bought this concept of renting this DVD, right? Renting this DVD, so somebody can order, somebody can rent whatever the movies that they wanted to watch. So the Netflix will send those DVDs through US Post, right? And they can watch and they can send it back to Netflix. That was the business model, right? So it was actually a DVD renting company, right? For the rural areas where they cannot have access to a real blockbuster DVDs, as well as who cannot afford those to buy and purchase those DVDs outright, right? And happen now, those days we know that the technology is very low, the internet speeds and all that had major problems. But after evolving all that, the technology, right? That when the internet speeds came very fast, etc., etc. Now Netflix changed the way that they operate, right? They completely changed their business model from renting out DVDs to streaming DVDs. What they did was, they actually allow people to stream videos online, and they can watch instead of renting the DVDs. So they have to send it through US Post. Instead of doing that, they actually enabled that capability of streaming the DVDs or movies through internet. So see, now with the technology of fast internet and all that, they converted the way that they operate. They converted the way that they operated, right? So now with that, now see what happened. Now Netflix has become one of the giants when it comes to streaming online videos, right? Now, if you look at, even if you take myself, or if you take some of kind of a huge number of people, even in Sri Lanka, we are into Netflix, right? Because it's easy and we can watch anything, we can do all those kind of things, we can purchase movies, we don't have to subscribe for any other TV cable TV operators, right? So and it has become, it boomed like nothing, and it actually bankrupted all the blockbusters. Recently I read, I think a couple of months ago, I read that even one of these movie producing companies, actually they shut down. Actually, they sold out to Netflix, right? So why they were not existed? Because they actually didn't identify one reason. I'm talking about one reason. They didn't identify the technological capabilities, and then they didn't change the way that they operate. But Netflix did. They leveraged new technology, and then they completely changed the way that they operate, right? The entire business model changed. So that's what we call a business transformation. Now, the opposite people, I can name many of them, right? I mean, you know Kodak, right? Kodak, those days we used to have these film rolls that we used to put into cameras, right? Now Kodak, what happened? They refused to adopt digital cameras. They thought that, okay, digital cameras won't succeed, right? So they didn't go into that, and Sony went into that journey, and then finally there's no Kodak right now, It's completely gone, right? Those days, the only dominance was hold on by Kodak Enterprise, right? When it comes to photo, the same thing. The Nokia, right? Same thing. They didn't want to change. They didn't want to adopt certain technologies. Not only technology. When it comes to Nokia, it's not only technology. There are certain other mismanagement. But one is that they with the trend and Nokia, right? So these are some of the case studies that we have, even in the academic as well as in the business community, where it actually tells you that you the successes of the business that who adopted new technology and completely transformed their businesses, not digitize and succeed, as well as who didn't adopt these businesses and fail, right? So these are certain classic examples that we can think of and we can identify in this business world. Transformation. So I just wanted to give you this example and try to explain what does it mean by complete business transformation or technological transformation by using these new technologies before we come into concentrated topic of a procurement, right? Because procurement is actually part of your supply chain or part of an organization, right? So that is where I wanted to come in, just to put some context behind it, to lay some foundation behind it in order for us to build that. Any questions, any thoughts, or any sharing that what you think and all that? Nothing? එක්ක තේරිලා නැහැ, එක්ක තේරිලා හොඳටම එහෙමනේ, දෙකෙන් එකක් නේ. Right? Right. So I take it as okay, no questions, okay? Right. Now actually, how many people we have? How many people we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have about 11 members. Okay, 11 members. Now I'm going to give you a small activity. Right, I'm going to give you a small activity. Possibly a kind of a group activity.
Sir, still
I'm
we
going
are
to put you
getting
into
interrupted.
breakout rooms of about. Yeah,
Sir, we can't hear you. I mean,
I
it
don't
is
know why.
interrupting.
I don't know
I
why
think
it's interrupting.
someone other also can tell that because I also sometimes having my internet issues also.
No. We are. It is same for me also.
That means you are getting you're like kind of breaking, right? I don't know. Maybe it's my. Right. So what I was telling was that I'm going to break you out into a kind of groups, group of 3. So we can do about 4 groups, right? Now, I want you all to discuss within that group, right? You take now all of you all must be working in different organizations. It could be private, public, or any other organizations, right? So I want you all to discuss and take, specifically looking at the procurement activity. Right now, you're talking about procurement, right? The procurement activity, right? When it comes to procurement, it's not only raising the purchase order, but we are talking about sourcing, that is selecting the suppliers and all that. And then obviously the procurement activity, which actually has sending the purchase order, those activities, that process. And then we have certain other activities of validating the suppliers, etc., measuring their performances, etc. So if you look at overall that the whole process, right, from selecting a supplier to sending a purchase order to measuring, right, that activities, those procurement activities, right. I want you all to identify what are the challenges that you currently face, right, in those activities, right, by when selecting uh, supplier, discuss that later, right? And then the procuring things, which is really sending the purchase order and then ensuring that the goods are received, right? And then the other activities like kind of measuring the performances of supplier, how we continue with the supplier, all that those activities. So what are the challenges that you face, the practical challenges that you face, right? And also you list down what are the systems or solutions based technologies that you use in order to execute those processes, right? I wanted to list that down. After I break you into rooms, I'll put 3 together, right? And then I'll give you about not more than 10 minutes, right? I'm not going to waste your time today. I'm going to wrap up as soon as possible. Right? So I'll give you about 10 minutes and then each team here. So that means if you break it into 3 people, then we'll have about 4 groups. So you come and present what are the challenges that you face in each process, and also what are the technologies that you use in each process. And then we'll continue this conversation into a very focused one for procurement and e-commerce, those kind of elements, right? Is that clear? Down rooms, I'll create 4. And automatically.
So is it okay?
So 2-3 participants per room. I'll leave you.
Sir, can you
Sorry?
repeat the question little? I mean, can you brief the question only that what are the things we need to identify that only the challenges in the process and what are the other things to discuss, sir?
So you have when it comes to procurement, it is not only raising a purchase order, right? When it comes to procurement, you have certain areas of selecting the supplier as well as you have raising the purchase order. That process is actually one cycle. And then you have certain processes where you evaluate having a supply scorecards and all that. You continue with that supply with a lot of other things which we'll deal with separately in later slides. So you identify that process and then you identify what are the current challenges that you have in those aspects, right? And also you can list down what are the tools, when it comes to tools in the sense the technological tools, right? And the solutions that you currently use to address those challenges, or you can even say that we don't have any tool, right, in order to address this particular challenge, right? So that's the whole thing that I want you to do. I'll just give you just 10 minutes. I'll give you 10 minutes. Am I clear in the question?
Yes, sir. It's okay.
Right.
For me, it's okay now.
Right. So I'll put you into the breakout room. So now time is 8. By 8:10, I'll get you all back. Okay. Are you all back? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now can we start from the first team?
Okay, sir. Good evening. I am group from Group One, room
Yes.
number one.
Yeah.
I have the personal experience. I try to buy tires to my vehicle. I am working in the irrigation department. Uh,
Right.
I collected quotation, but there's no rigid specification for the tires. We can put some warranty period for this much kilometer like that, right?
Uh-huh.
There's no other. So when we collected, we have to select. We were forced to select a brand into one Indonesian brand, right? And that tire burst after 10,000 kilometers, right? There is no way to get a good quality to avoid that the low quality tires. But really, people do it's unofficially tell the supplier orally, not any other way. Orally, don't put these cheaper brands. Put only the Bridgestone, Roadstone like that. This is unofficial way we do, but there's no way to avoid. If we follow procurement guideline, this
Yeah.
low quality brand we have to select. That's the first problem, right?
Right.
Second, we deal with enough small scale contractors, being those who deal with 10 to 15 million, 20 million works. They do not have any QS for them, right? They get the rates of these government organizations through some unofficial means and they submit their quotations or bids for the works with some reduction. By reducing, suppose if it's 10,000, they put 8,000. In some cases, the total bid price is less than the engineer's estimate. So,
Okay.
according to the rules, we are bound to give the work to that person who quoted less than engineer's estimate. It means he will surely face loss and he has to spend out of his pocket. So in that case, we are unable to do anything. Because
Right.
we have to avoid that work. That then
Right.
it will end up in a bad quality work and that person may try to give some bribe to officers to escape the quality test like that. There's another problem. This is all, there's no guideline in the present guideline, there's nothing to not to avoid the work, not to avoid the work to the person which has very low, right?
Right. Okay.
And the third one is this is also in the small scale contractors. One person has many books. One is in his name, other is in his son's name, right? and his wife's name also. So if you blacklist him, he will appear in another way, right? These three are the experience we had. Our group people had. Okay.
Yeah, why I love this course, why I'm teaching this course. One of the reason, you know why? Uh, this is I'm teaching mainly for public sector people, so I learn a lot when it comes right, because I don't have that much of experience in public sector, and so far I have done with 3 batches, not only this one. Actually, I'm doing change management, the entire one. Uh, uh, they come up with, I mean, beautiful stories. So thank you for sharing. Good.
Okay. Okay.
Others, second team, not there.
Yeah, I think so. Basically,
Sorry. One moment. First team, but you didn't say, are you using any kind of a technology or solutions in order to cater for your procurement process? What have you identified that?
Normally, that we have identified that digital supplier registration is one thing,
Okay.
and even the e-procurement.
E-procurement, okay.
Yes, these we have identified, but in my organization, in the irrigation department, we are again following the same paperwork. Not this digital run. We did not come up to the digital transformation so far.
Right. Okay. Right.
Okay.
Okay. Second one, sorry. Second team. And second, yeah, second team.
Yes, sir. We identified actually, I am in the supply chain industry, so the the main issue that I have is being back order situations, right? Because actually I am working for Australia, not Sri Lanka, so it is a little bit different than Sri Lankan context. According to my experience, it is easy to work in Australian culture because due to technology advancement and attitudes of people.
Yeah.
So the main issue I am identifying is back order issues, price fluctuations. I think these two are main things. You ask that what are the tools that we can use to monitor and mitigate risk. Actually, in Australia, we have main suppliers that each main supplier has their own web portal. We can easily access to that portal and we can monitor the status of our orders. And also they have very live customer communication centers. All customer representatives are quickly, highly responsive for our inquiries.
Right.
And we are ordering material project basis. So it is very easy to manage when we want a project. We are ordering material according to that project. Actually, I mean, electrical industry. We have renowned brands in Australia like Schneider, Terasaki, ABB. So that the quality, due to the high quality of these brands, there are no compliance issues and the quality issues. So actually, it is very easy to handle procurement side of that industry in Australia.
So what you say is even we have compliance related issues. We also could have compliance issues also in procurement, right? That's what you're saying. But you don't have, but it's actually kind of thing that we need to look at.
If it is a new supplier, it is there is an issue. We have to study about their compliances. But when we are moving to renowned suppliers like Schneider, Terasaki, we don't want to repeat it. We know it is fixed.
Sure.
So always we are encouraging to our team to not to use new brands, only to use this renowned brand.
Perfect. So any other teams?
Yes, I'm Dinesh here, sir. My other colleague is Masood. And so what we encountered, the thing is, while we are doing procurement, mostly I'm in a contracting some sector. So what we are encountering the sometime while they are pricing for any projects or any works, they are not going through entire documents. So while they're executing, they are finding very much difficulties, and due to that, they are not encountered that items what they wanted to price. So at the time of execution, they will get very much losing that projects mostly. So what tools what they could have used? They have some tools, some kind of 3D modeling and some some other tools. I can't, it is not come to my mind. And this kind of tools they can use while they are doing that estimations. So because the thing is, they are thinking only to get the project, but the thing is, even they get the project, it doesn't mean that they want the case. The thing is, at the time of executions, they are getting loose. So at the time, no one can help because it is that contract has been signed and no one can change the contract clauses and other things. So this is finally that company is going the bad situation. So if they use that kind of tools, they could have identify what are the items to be priced and what are the items need to be focused on, where the places to be very much focused. So this kind of things, but we are encountering in this industry.
Sure. Thank you.
As well as
Good.
the
I think
regulation
so.
as well.
Regulation.
Yes. Yes.
The government regulation, since I'm in Saudi Arabia, but I'm not, banking sector, there are so many regulations they are passing. So for suddenly they have introduced 60% of the entire construction, from the construction, 60% of the goods they need to purchase locally. They cannot import. And in some areas, those things. Okay.
Right. Okay, right. Last one, last group. Is that all? No, I think there's one group, no? Right? Last group.
So how many members were there in one group?
I think one we had 3 and all the others, I think 2, if I'm not mistaken.
So that means one another group then.
Yeah. There were 4 groups. Okay, if they are not participating, that's okay, no problem. Right. Okay. Now this is beautiful. Now these are some of the challenges, but unfortunately, there were no. I mean, there's no prominence that we identified when it comes to systems or technologies that they are using in order for this entire procurement cycle. Right. Now, this actually leads us towards the need of technology, right? Need of systems, information systems in our entire procurement process, okay? In our entire procurement process, right? So now we talked about no proper records and we cannot find certain pricing because we don't have records, right? It's very difficult to identify correct specifications, right? And one thing I didn't read, I forgot to write down. I recall in my mind right now. හරියට අපිට estimate කරන්න විදිහක් නැහැ මේක කොහොමද වෙන්නේ කියලා, right? There are balance order issues, there are price fluctuations going here and there. There could be compliance requirements that coming into play when it comes to all that, right? And regulatory aspects, right? Now, these are some of the challenges. These are some of the things actually we face when it comes to the procurement, the entire procurement functionality in any business, right? මේකට විතරක් නෙමෙයි public sector විතරක් නෙමෙයි, but if you look at even a private sector, we actually face exactly kind of challenges. Hari? Same kind of challenges. Then අපි මේක ගත්තොත් එහෙම. Now I just put certain aspects which actually aligns to what you have just described. හරි, දැන් ඔයාලා මට කියපු ඒවලටම align වෙන certain factors ඇයි අපිට මේ digital procurement systems ඕන කියන තැනට, right? අපි එන්නේ ඇයි කියන එක ගැන තමයි මම කතා කරේ. Now I broke it into 3. Now first I would like to explain what are the drivers, right? Drivers. ඇයි අපිට digital tools ඇයි අපිට digital information tools අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ මේ entire procurement cycle procurement activity එකට. හරිද? දැන් එකක් තමයි the first thing is actually the cost efficiency, right? That means like now when we start using these digital tools, actually it actually reduce a lot of reduce errors, right? එතකොට අර කිව්වා වගේ duplicate payments අපිට තියාගන්න බැරි වෙනවා, cost understanding, analysis, all that, right? The entire thing actually drives, right, for a reduction of cost, which means මම කියන්නේ reduction of cost කියලා. I would like to put the word cost efficiency. That means it's a better pricing, basically better cost, right, which actually drives any kind of entire strategic to save, right, save certain things. Now for example, අපි උදාහරණයකට මම ඔයගලන්ට ගත්තොත් එහෙම අපේ industry එක. For example, you know that our industry, one of the key element is fabric, right? අපිට fabric අවශ්‍යයි මහන්න, right? Garments produce කරන්න, right? So I think almost 60% of our cost of product is fabric actually, right? So now සමහර වෙලාවට අපි use කරන්න පුළුවන් similar kind of fabric with the same supplier for different factories, right? But then through these kind of procurement systems, we can just, if we can consolidate these kind of things, and we can have a better negotiation with the customer, right? Sorry, supplier, right? Fabric supplier, right? We can have a better discounts and better cost efficiency, maintain a better cost efficiency in terms of fabric, in terms of that particular material. So this is just an example that I gave. So that is, we are talking about cost efficiency. So one of the drivers, api digital technologies, digital tools, movement system එකට use කරන්න කියලා එක හේතුවක් තමයි this cost efficiency. That means අපිට කොහොමද මේක save කරගන්න කියන එක, අපේ සල්ලි ඉතුරු කරගන්න කියන එක, right? And then definitely, obviously, the speed, right? The speed. ඒ කියන්නේ now certain things like අපි උදාහරණයක් දෙමුකෝ, අපි certain approval process එකක් තියෙනවා කියලා, right? Now if it is in manual, you have to raise documents manually and you have to pass things there. එතකොට DGM ගාවට යන්න ඕන, සමහරට වෙන මිනිස්ට්‍රි එකකට යන්න ඕනේ, මිනිස්ට්‍රි එකට ගිහිල්ලා approve වෙන්න ඕන, all that. It takes a lot of time, right? But if we can adopt these kind of systems, digital information systems, we can actually speed up that process, right? We can speed up that process because you raise certain things digitally, so it can be visible to somebody else in the other ministry and he can do the approvals, all that. I mean, it's not only the approvals, but there are obviously that when you start using technology, digital systems, you bring in speed, right? So that's one driver for us to push these digital systems. And also the compliance, compliance, make it kelimawa, right? How we can maintain certain policies and regulation requirements, right? It's very easy. I mean, so because of certain policy, because of that, we want to maintain certain policies and regulatory requirements. We have to, I mean, using systems is the best solution that we can think of. For example, අපිට මොකක් හරි traceability එකක් අපෙන් ඇවිල්ලා මේක කොහොමද procurement process එක උනේ, කවුද approve කරේ, මොකක්ද උනේ, quotations, මොනවාද pricing and all that, right? If for auditing purpose, right, regulatory purposes, it's very easy to maintain that compliance through this system. So because of that, that is one of the drivers that we can think we have to push these digital systems. And then obviously the resilience, right? ඒ කියන්නේ ගොඩක් අපි මේක ගන්නකොට ගොඩක් disruptions එන්න පුළුවන්. Now for example, one resilient point is that you have actually discussed the price fluctuations, right? එතකොට ඒ වගේ price fluctuations කොහොමද අපි manage කරන්නේ? Sometimes if it is manual, it's very difficult for us to analyze, and it will take long time for us to take certain decisions, right? So that also, to maintain resilience when it comes to certain scenarios, it's one of the drivers. So it's not only these four, මේ හතර විතරක් නෙවෙයි, but there are many other things, but I just consolidated. Now there are certain drivers why we must use these procurement systems, procurement digitalization, we must think of, right? These are the drivers. And the same way, certain market volatilities, right? You have certain demand swing in the puller, right? So you maintain karaniko, they are balaganiko, they are balaniko, right? Now I don't know to give you an example when it comes to the public sector, but in private sector, I can say in my example in our industry, right? Now, අපි කොහොමද ෆෝකාස් කරන්නේ? අපි කොහොමද දැනගන්නේ මේ ඊළඟ සීසන් එකේ මෙච්චර ගානකට ෆැබ්‍රික් එයි, so we may have to purchase this much of yardages on this quality of fabric, right? It's very important, right? It's very, very important, because if we have that, we can actually gain a lot of advantage when it comes to competition, right? So demand swings are some of the capabilities that we link to the market volatility and supply shocks. Again, අපි මම අර කිව්ව ඉස්සෙල්ලා VUCA world එක එන්න පුළුවන්, pandemics වෙන්න පුළුවන්, අපි economic crisis වෙන්න පුළුවන්, තව මොන හරි ප්‍රශ්න එන්න පුළුවන්. All that can have, right? And also price fluctuation. ඔයගොල්ලෝ directlyම කිව්වා, right? So අපිට a price fluctuations බලන්න, monitor කරන්න, negotiate කරන්න real time, right? If you have that advantage, it's a huge competitive advantage that we can. This is again one of the why we start using technology or digital systems in order for us to manage our fund. One is the KPI impact, right? අපි කොහොමද cycle time touchless PO අපි කොහොමද maintain කරන්නේ, right? All that, then price variance කොහොමද monitor කරන්නේ, all that KPI monitoring වලටත් it's very easy, and අපිට drive කරන්න පුළුවන් මේ KPIs අපිට මේ digital systems, digital technologies අපි ගාව අපි maintain කරනවා නම් තේරෙනවද? So actually it is all what I just mentioned was actually absolutely in line with what are the challenges, some of the challenges that you have actually identified here. Harida, any thoughts or any comments, anything before I move forward? Right. I guess silence is no. Okay. Right. Then we look at what are these information systems that we have, right? When it comes to sourcing and this procurement functionality. අපි ගොඩක් කරලා sourcing and procurement function අපි ගොඩක් කරලා හිතන්නේ purchase order raise කරන කතන්දරේ විතරයි. හරිද? يعني කාගෙන් හරි request එකක් එනවා internally, ඒකට ඊට පස්සේ මම quotation එකක් මේක කරනවා, ඊට පස්සේ මම purchase order raise කරනවා, ඒ purchase order යවනවා supplier ට, supplier ගෙන් බඩු වෙනවා, බඩු ආවෙන් පස්සේ මම 3-way or 4-way match කරනවා, match කරලා කියලා payment එක කරනවා. ඔය කතන්දර විතර අපි ගොඩක් කරලා හිතන්නේ ඕක හිතලා අපි ගොඩක් තැන්වල I'm pretty sure even you must be using right now, right? You must be using ERPs. ERP systems use करना है, price plan, resource plan, ERP systems use करना है, order का raise कराने, ये वगे देवाल कराने. එහෙම කරන කට්ටිය ඉන්නවද? Anyone who's using an ERP system in order for us to use continue the procurement functionality, ERP කරලා ඒව systems use කරන experience තියෙන කට්ටිය?
Yes, sir.
Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Right. මොකක්ද ඔයගොල්ලෝ කරන්නේ ERP? මොකක්ද ERP එක use කරන්නේ?
Workflow Max.
Okay, workflow Max. ඒකෙදි මොනවද ඔයගොල්ලෝ කරන functionalities ඔය procurement එකේ?
Procurement එක basically කරන්නේ purchase orders create කරන එක, supplier ට send කරන එක, ඊට පස්සේ receive කරන එක.
That's right.
ඊට පස්සේ එතනින් ආයේ එක මේ transfer කරනවා මේකට zero platform එකට invoicing.
Then now when it comes to purchasing, you must keep in mind most of us actually are very well versed අපි ගොඩක් කලාට හිතන්නේ procurement system එකක් කියපුවම ERP system එක. Right? But keep in mind ERP system එකකට බෑ full procurement functionality එක දෙන්න. Right? Now, you know what is ERP system? ERP system එකක් කියන්නේ it's like kind of enterprise resource planning solution which finance, manufacturing, inventory management and HR, everything is connected in one system. Right? So procurement role එක කියලා කියන්නේ ERP system එකක් ඇතුලේ එක basic functionality එකක් විතරයි. දැන් ගොඩක් ERPs ගත්තම procurement functionality ERP එකේ procurement functionality වෙන්නේ දැන් මේ එකනා කියපු දේ. Basically you raise your purchase order, send your purchase order and then you maintain your purchase order and then you send it to invoice, right? So that's the functionality. But that is not the entire the procurement functionality. No? You may have learned these procurement functionalities throughout this module, no? Right? So there are certain strengths, but in the ERP, strengths and limitations. මේකේ තියෙනවා certain unified data across the අපිට එක solution එකක් නිසා එක system එකක් නිසා ඔක්කොමන්ටම හම්බෙන data එක පැත්තකට තියෙනවා. හුඟක් finance පැත්තට ගොඩාක් strong. හරි? so එතකොට limitations තමයි මේකේ ගොඩක් procurement features හුඟක් generic. ඒ කියන්නේ ගොඩාක් වෙලාවට තියෙන්නේ අපිට අර මම කියපු දේ. අපි purchase order raise කරලා ඒක ගෙනල්ලා ඒක GRN කරලා warehouse එකට දාලා ඒක යවලා 3 way හරි 4 way හරි match කරලා කියලා invoice කරන එක. ඒක තමයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට තියෙන්නේ. හරි? ඒකම අපිට customize කරන්න අපි procurement functionality අනිත් functionalities වලට customize කරන්න ගියොත් මේක හුඟක් අමාරුයි. Right? ඒක නිසා තමයි and also just keep in mind now the world is actually moving out from these one single ERP solution concept. හරිද? ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් එළියට යනවා. Because now the world is thinking in a different way. ඉස්සර තිබුණේ ඔක්කොම එක තැනකට එන්න ඕන කියන understanding එක. Then when it comes to technology, they feel that it has to be disconnected. හරිද? මොකද the ideology is this. Now they say, okay, there are certain financial functionalities. For an example, let's take financials. There are certain financial systems, financial solutions which is specific for finance, right? Which is ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ සම්පූර්ණ effort එකම දාලා තියෙන financial functionalities වලට. So ඒගොල්ලෝ develop කරනවා. ඒක keep on evolving with the new features and financial point of view. Similarly, the procurement side of it, right? So procurement, there are certain procurement stacks other than the ERPs. ඒතර ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ primary goal එක අපි තුමේ procurement systems විකුණන කට්ටියගේ primary goal එක ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ focus කරන්නේ procurement functionality එක විතරයි. ඒගොල්ලෝ finance බලන්නේ නැහැ. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ හැම වෙලාවම ලෝකයේ අලුත් වෙන විදිහට procurement functionality එක develop කරන procurement functionality එක evolve වෙන්නේ කොහොමද කියන එක බලන එක කරා. So ඒක නිසා තමයි දැන් ලෝකේ ගොඩක් තැන්වල ගොඩක් businesses වල instead of going into one single system called ERP, they actually tend to look at different functionalities and specific to that functionality what are the systems that we can use කියන. දැන් ඒ line එකෙන් තමයි දැන් ලෝකේ ගොඩක් තියෙනවා these kind of ERPs procurement stacks. ඒ කියන්නේ procurement cycle එකට අවශ්‍ය කරන functionalities, capabilities ගේන්න පුළුවන් systems දැන් ලෝකේ තියෙනවා. Procurement stacks, right? It's not an ERP, but it's specifically built to execute procurement functions. මේ දෙකේ difference එක තේරෙනවද ඔයගලන්ට? මම මේ කියපු දෙකේ difference එක තේරෙනවද? ERP එකකයි මේ complete procurement stack එකකයි. එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ individual stack එකකයි difference එක තේරෙනවද? Clear ද මේක? So I feel that it is clear. Okay. So ERP. So what we are going to learn is we are not going to think about ERP. We'll see what are the procurement solutions that is available and what are the functionalities that it can bring in this our context. Harida. Then now when it comes to system landscape, I'm not only talking about systems landscape. දැන් මේ procurement functionality කරන ඉගෙන ගත්තේ මේ module එක දිගටම මේකෙදි ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඉගෙන ගත්තා නේද source to contract කියන functionality. එහෙම ඉගෙන ගත්තද?
Source to pay. Yeah, source to pay.
contract එක කරේ නැද්ද?
Well, we did source to pay, sir.
Right. Now, so I'm not going to contradict on that, but now one area is actually a source to contract, right? Source to contract කියලා කියන්නේ මම කිව්වා වගේ it's kind of a more strategic process එකක්, right? More strategic for process එකක් where we actually start selecting kind of supply, right? දැන් මේකේ actually මම කිව්වොත් එහෙම ඕගලන්ට මේකේ තියෙන sorry ඒක මොකක්ද උනේ අනිත් පැත්තට right ඉස්සල්ලා right back right let me stop let me quickly take my whiteboard දැන් මේක ගත්තොත් එහෙම මේ source to contract right S to C right මේකෙදි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අපි කරනවා spend analysis right ඒ කියන්නේ අපි certain දේවල් categorize කරලා ඒ categorize කරපු ඒවල historical trends අරගෙන ඒවල saving opportunities මොනවද අනම්මනම් ඒවා ටික ඔක්කොම කරනවා as a trend analysis හරිද එතකොට ඒකම මේ system මේ process එක ඇතුලේ අපි කරනවා supply discovery and qualification කියන එක right and qualification right මේක තමයි අපි කරන්නේ ගොඩක් market analysis right market researchers supply and board කරන ඒවා right ඒකම compliance checks කොහොමද මේවා වෙන්නේ ඒ ඔක්කොම එන්නේ මේ process එක ඇතුලේ ඒකම මේක ඇතුලේ තමයි අපි කරන්නේ request for information right RFP request for proposal and request for quotation මේ ඔක්කොම මේ functionalities මේක ඇතුලේ මේ process එක ඇතුලේ තමයි අපි කියන්නේ මේ supply to contract කියන එක. අපි දැන් මේ කරන්නේ අපි contract එකක් දෙන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා. ඒ කියන්නේ purchase order එකක් දෙන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා කොහොමද supplier කෙනෙක්ව select කරලා ඉස්සරහට යන්න කියන process එක. හරිද? ඒකම මේක ඇතුලේ තමයි අපි වෙන්නේ evaluation and negotiations. Right?
So the demand analysis is also coming through this, right?
Sorry?
The demand analysis, where we identify the amount of stock and everything comes also in this area, right?
No, not your available stock. This one we analyze our historical information. මොන supply ගෙන්ද අපි ගත්තේ කොච්චර cost saving එකක් තිබුණාද මොනවද උනේ මොනවද categories all that. අපි මේ supplier select කරන යන process එක. ඒ කියන්නේ supply to contract process එක. Demand analysis එක වෙනවා ඔයාගේ අනිත් එකේදී P2P එකේදී. මම ඒක කියන්නම්. හරිද? මෙතන වෙන්නේ mainly you're selecting your supply, right? And also then you do your award decision, right? Right? And ඒකෙදි තමයි ඊට පස්සේ අපි වෙන්නේ basically ගත්තම contract approval ඒ කියන්නේ legal reviews අර මේ කියන contract approvals ටික right and also contract storage and compliance angle එක අපි අර ඉස්සෙල්ලා කතා කර regulation and compliance angle එක right මේ ඔක්කොම අපි කරන්නේ මේ supplier select කරන එක source to contract that means I'm selecting a supplier through all these process right previous analysis ඒ ඔක්කොමත් එක්ක බලලා RFP RFQs ගෙන්නලා ඒක evaluate කරලා negotiate කරලා award කරනවද නැද්ද කියලා තීරණය කරලා right contracts ගහලා ඒක legal proceedings ඒව ඔක්කොම ගිහිල්ලා compliance බලලා එහෙම කරලා අපි supplier select කරනවා මෙයාට තමයි මම මේ purchase order එක දෙන්නේ කියන එක. දැන් මේ area එකට තමයි අපි මේ මොකද්ද කියන්නේ අපි මේ කියන්නේ S to C supplier to contract කියන කතන්දරේ. හරි? S2C supply to contract කියන කතන්දරේ. හරි? මේක clear ද මම මේ කියපු එක? I'll stop sharing, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So what is the second point? It is supplier discovery and
මම ලියපු එකද?
yeah. Spend
supply
analysis.
discovery and qualification. Qualification. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒකෙන් තමයි අපි qualification. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒකෙන් තමයි අපි කරන්නේ market research කරලා, right? ඒකම supplier කෙනෙක් onboard කරනවද? මොනවද checks අපි මොනවද යාගෙන් check කරන්නේ? ඒ ඔක්කොම කතන්දර ටික කරන්නේ ඒක හරහා. ඒක තමයි that's what we call supply discovery and qualification කියන එක, right? So you know now that's the first phase of my procurement cycle, right? Now procurement is not, as I said, it's not the sending a purchase order ne. Right? So first of all you qualify a supplier, right? And you decide this is a supplier that I'm going to go with, right? There are certain process steps. ඒව තමයි මම ඔයාලට මේ කිව්වේ. ඔයගොල්ලෝ මේවා ඉගෙනගෙන ඇති දැන් මේ වෙනකොටත් මේ particular subject එක ඇතුලේ. හරි? Now එතකොට මේ S2C sorry yeah go ahead.
Sir, දැන් මට මෙහෙම issue එකක් තියෙනවා. දැන් sir මේ අපි දැන් මොකක් හරි කම්පැනි එකක් ගත්තොත් ඒ කියන්නේ අපි හිතමු ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රි එකේ අවුරුදු 10ක් 15ක් තිබුණාට පස්සේ යාර designated suppliers ලා ඉන්නවනේ.
Correct.
එතකොට මේ process එක ඉබේම වෙලානේ ගොඩක්ලා. ඇත්තටම දැන් අපි මේ process එක follow කරන්නේ අපි අලුතෙන්ම මොන හරි manufacturing පටන් ගන්නවා නේද?
Absolutely. අලුතෙන්ම supplier කෙනෙක් හොයනවා. Right? එතකොට මම කියන්නේ ඒක දැන් ඔයා දැන් what you said was like ඔයාලා already selected, there are selected suppliers are there, right? So එතකොට ඒකට තමයි දැන් ඔයාගේ තියෙන මම මුලින්ම කියපු process එක spend analysis. ඒ කියන්නේ certain categories, මේ categories ගත්තේ මේ supplier ගෙන් ගත්තේ මේ price එකට මෙච්චර saving එකක් අපිට දීලා තිබ්බා. So that is what I said, spend analysis එකක් අපි කරනවා. That is for existing suppliers, right? එතකොට ඔයා කියන scenario එක that's one scenario. And there can be other scenario that now we wanted to actually purchase or we wanted to onboard a new supplier, right? එතකොට අනිත් scenarios reality එක ඔක්කොම වෙන්න ඕන. Even for existing suppliers, sometimes we may even do RFP process, right? ඒ කියන්නේ අපි තියෙන cost එකටම සමහරට ගන්න නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන් නේ. RFQ process එකක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. කියන්නේ request for proposal එන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකම request for quotation. අපිට එයා ගිය අවුරුද්දේ විකුණලා තිබ්බේ $5කට, but now this time also I wanted to identify what's the quote for this, what they are going to quote, right? So it can apply for existing customers as well as new customers. But when it comes to existing customers, අර මම කියපු සමහර දේවල් process එකේ අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද ඔයා already onboard කරලා තියෙන්නේ. හරි? Certain processes අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ නැහැ, but සමහර activities වෙන්න පුළුවන්. But when it comes to overall, when we are talking about the entire procurement process, this is the first step. අපි supplier onboard කරන්න එපා. මං කියන එක පැහැදිලිද? Right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So එතකොට onboard කරන්න ඒක තමයි මම මේ කියන්නේ supply to contract S2C කතන්දරේ එන්නේ එතනට. එතකොට this particular part it's very rarely can support from ERP systems. මේ functionalities, මේ capabilities කරන්න certain specific systems තියෙනවා. Specific solutions තියෙනවා එළියේ. මම මේ දීලා තියෙන certain examples. පල්ලෙහාද මම දාලා තියෙන available solutions කියලා, right? SAP Arabia, Coupa sourcing, all that. Those are some of the existing systems that we can use specifically for this S2C functionality. තේරෙනවද මම කියන්නේ? Sourcing to contract කියන functionality එකට ගෙනියන්න very much important a specific functionalities කරන්න පුළුවන් systems ටිකක් තමයි මම මේ ඔයගලන්ට මෙතන දීලා තියෙන්නේ. So that's one area. Now what is the second area when it comes to procurement? Right? When it comes to procurement, the second area is P2P, right? Procure to pay, right? Now what are the functionality or the process of procure to pay, right? මොනවද functionalities? දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඉගෙනගෙන නැති නේද? Now what are the functionalities of procure to pay? කියන්නකෝ එකක් දෙක. What are the functionalities? What is the process of procure to pay?
Sourcing a supplier.
So sourcing a supplier, we have did it in the previous
Need
slide.
need identification. Need identification.
Now this is now we have identified everyone. We decided that I'm going to source from this supplier. That all done. Then he was onboarded, compliance done, contracts done, legal is completed, and everything is completed. Right? Now, what is
raising
requisition?
Yeah.
Right? So first of all, need identification.
The PR has to be prepared, right? PR and PO.
Exactly. Need identification and requisition, right? ඒ කියන්නේ අපි identify කරගන්නවා එක්ක ඉන්ටර්නල් PR එකක් දානවා purchase requisition එකක් ඒකම අපි බලනවා මොනවද specifications මොනවද මොන quality එකෙන්ද ඕන කොච්චර pricing එකෙන්ද අපි ගන්න යන්නේ all that it's internally that we get that, right? So that's what we call the need identification and requisition. This is one step, the first step that we have in P2P, right? And then what we have the approval workflows, right? Approval workflow එකක් තියෙනවා. හරි? approval workflow එකක් තියෙනවා. මොකද approval workflow කියන්නේ? ඒ කියන්නේ finance checks වෙන්න පුළුවන්, department එකේ ඔයාලගේ කවුරු කෙනෙක් බලන්න පුළුවන්. ඒගොල්ලෝ මේක approve කරන්න ඕන, right? ඒ PR එක approve කරායින් පස්සේ then what we have? Then we have
sourcing.
Your purchase order creation. Purchase order creation, right? PO creation, right? That's the once you have a PR and once you approved, and now you have your purchase order creation, right? Then what we have, right? We have
following up
goods
and
received.
GRA.
Annari, goods or service received. Right? අන්න ඒ කතන්දරේ. ඊළඟට මොකද්ද තියෙන්නේ? මොකක්ද තියෙන්නේ? Invoicing. Exactly invoicing. Yeah. And then payment. හරි. දැන් මේකනේ basic process එක P2P එකේ. කියන්නේ procure to pay. From the procurement to pay. Right? This is the process. හරි? Clear නේ? So එතකොට දැන් මේ process එක ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අපේ normal ERPs වලින් handle කරන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් අපි ගොඩක් ERP වලින් කරන්නේ මේ P2P functionality එකට cater කරන එක. තේරෙනවද මං කියන එක? P2P functionality කියන්නේ purchase requisition එකේ ඉඳලා invoice එකේ payment එකට යනකම් යන්න පුළුවන්. Right? But එහෙම කිව්වට ඒකටත් specific systems තියෙනවා if you want. So what I have given here was some of the specific procurement P2P capability systems that you can use. But saying that මේ P2P functionality එක ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අපේ existing ERP වල තියෙනවා. හරිද? එතකොට අපි system එක procurement system කියලා කියන්නේ හැම වෙලාවෙම මේ P2P කැලලට විතරයි. පැහැදිලිද මම මේ කියන්නේ? right? එතකොට requisition එකේ ඉඳලා payment එකට යනකම් ඒ කැලලට විතර අපි මේ procurement part එක කියලා system එක ගැන කතා කරන්නේ. අර S2C ගැන අපි කතා කරන්නේ නැහැ ගොඩක් වෙලාවට. Because that capability is not available most of the times in your ERP system, right? And then the other part is what we call is SRM capabilities, right? Supplier relationship management capabilities, right? දැන් මොනවද මේ supplier relationship management capabilities? මොනවද මේ process එක ඇතුලේ වෙන්නේ? දැන් මේ ඔක්කොම procurement එකේ කෑලියා. දැන් මේ ඔක්කොම මම ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඉගෙනගෙන නැති මේ ඔක්කොම, right? Procurement මේ ඔක්කොම procurement එකේ කෑලි, right? SRM capabilities. Supplier relationship management capabilities, right? What are those, right? Api kiyanawa, api certain supplier, yeah, go ahead.
The suppliers go and for them to identify their, what their PR level is, what their
Exactly.
yeah, it's just
Exactly.
like a database so that they could also check how their status is in our company, right?
Exactly. So what you said is absolutely right. It's basically how you strategically have a relationship with that supply, right? It's like a customer, right? Now there are certain capabilities or functionalities of this SRM, right? So one thing is actually supplier segmentation. Right, the supply segmentation එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ අපේ strategic importance එක අනුව අපි මේ supply එක කොච්චර spend කරලා තියෙනවද, all that information for us to understand based on certain criteria. We segment our suppliers, right? We segment our suppliers because when we segment our suppliers, it's easy for us to later on figure out which suppliers that we can go with and which suppliers that we are going to drop, which suppliers we are going to continue, etc., and all that. And then the second one, as you rightly said, supplier scorecards.
Performance management.
Exactly. Right? Again, performance, quality, responsiveness, all that comes into play when it comes to scoring your supply. We may have different things that you have on that. And then another thing that we can assess on this supply relation management is actually the risk assessments, right? Risk assessment in the sense like, okay, how about the financial health of this supplier? So, I mean, if it is like kind of his financial health is not good, that is not good for our business as well, because we cannot continue with that supply. He may bankrupt, right? And also geographical risks, right? Now currently what we have is, okay, China වල certain areas වලින් අපිට fabric purchase කරන්න බෑ, cotton purchase කරන්න බෑ if you wanted to ship it into US, right? So those kind of geographical risks, sustainability risks, all that come into play. So you get that information so you can decide, right? And also it actually provides the collaboration platforms, right? Collaboration. Right now, in this supplier relationship management, these are some of the key capabilities that we are looking at. Now මේක බලපු ගාම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට තේරෙනවා ඇති ඇයි මේවා කරන්නේ කියලා. මේවා කරන්නේ for us to have a better relationship with the supplier. So we can decide we wanted to continue with this supply or we don't want to continue with this supply කියන එක මත මේ හැම දෙයක්ම depend වෙනවා, right? So that is why it's very important that we bring in certain supplier relationship management capabilities also into this procurement, the entire procurement aspect. I'm sure which you may have learned all that. Now this SRM, supplier relationship management capabilities, are definitely not in ERP systems, right? So there are certain specific systems that we can use in order to bring these capabilities and to maintain a good health into our entire procurement landscape. So when it comes to a procurement landscape, specifically when we talk about this procurement landscape and capabilities, we discuss the capabilities of S2C, P2P, and also SRM capabilities overall as the entire procurement process. Ma'am, make it clear. Any questions?
Yes, sir.
Right, no questions. That means okay. Yeah. So the point that I wanted to make is the information that I wanted to give you is most of us use systems. either an ERP or in-house systems in order to execute the capabilities only the capabilities of P2P, procure to pay, right? But we have forgotten that there are certain other elements also when it comes to procurement process, which is supplier to contract as well as supplier relationship management in order for us to execute the entire procurement process point of view. So these are some of the capabilities and the systems that we can bring in, right? So I'll move forward. Obviously, there are certain implementation challenges when it comes to these systems. One of the key challenge that we master data governance, what master data governance, right? Master data. Now when it comes, I'll straight go to the next slide. Now when it comes to especially the procurement, right? Maintaining master data, that is master data when it comes to vendors, right? Vendor details, pricing and all that. And specifically when it comes to item master, items can අපේ inventory එකේ තියෙන items, right? Because අපි experience කරන එක තමයි අපි even being very technologically savvy organizations that we are working in, maintaining this item master, vendor master, pricing, all that is very difficult because there are a lot of duplicates and everything, things are happening, right? ඒවා අපිට ගොඩාක් ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා. So I'm going into details, but I share this slide deck. Now, these are some of the master data that we must think of when it comes to implementing these systems. These are some of the challenges that we have when it comes to master data management, right? And the second thing is actually how you manage your change management. Obviously, no. ඒක මම කියන්න ඕනේ නෑනේ. Subject, if you wanted to pick up in as an option about change management as a complete model. So change management is also one of a key challenge when it comes to implementing these systems, these tools, not only in procurement environment but in any business environment that we actually moving through, right? Now I wanted to quickly take you through what are these EDI sourcing and e-auctions. When it comes to procurement, we must understand what is EDI, e-sourcing and auctions, e-auctions. Now, what is an EDI? EDI is actually electronic data interchange. The meaning of EDI is actually the electronic data interchange. To be very frank, this is a very old technology, right? But since that it is there in your curriculum, I'm teaching you this, right? So we are not talking about EDI anymore in this level, right? Now, what is EDI? EDI is basically you are transforming certain information into a digital form and you transmit that information to your suppliers or your customers well in advance, right? So basically what it does is like even now we also use EDI because we don't receive customer purchase orders in emails or any other document form anymore, right? Customers lapita purchase orders through digital form, through digital platform. So what they do is they raise their purchase orders, they raise their basically the requirement in one of their systems, and that eventually transform into a purchase order, and it send it to the supplier, us, right? The apparel context, right? The similar works, right? And what order digital ASNs, advanced shipping notices to the customer digitally through the same platform, and then we raise the invoice through the same platform, and then they will send the payment advice through the same platform, right? So it's basically වචනේ ලොකු වුණාට EDI, electronic data interchange, is nothing but you transform certain information between a supplier and a customer in electronic form, right? So if you look at generally, these are the information that we transmit through an EDI platform. Purchase order, acknowledgement, advance notice, invoice payment, all that information, right? So that is basically about EDI. Now, I'm not going to talk about EDI values in detail for you because it's very obvious, right? It's very obvious. I mean, if you are having a digital transform like that, its speed is one thing, right? And accuracy is one thing, right? And we don't have to retype and all that. And obviously it leads into cost saving, right? So these are some of the benefits that we get from EDI a process. Now, these kind of technologies also is used when it comes to procuring things. You understand?
Sir, which means that, that both the parties should use the same technology. I mean, same app or something.
Exactly. You're right. Absolutely, you're right. So both the parties, there are certain EDI platforms. So supplier as well as the customer must use the same platform. Yes. So then only that actually they send it through that platform. So we pick it up through that platform. So it's transform the communication happens through that platform. You're right. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Right. So that's why I said that's actually an old technology, which is not that like kind of portals that we have. The new technologies are actually kind of portals where we can just go and see their purchase orders, which they populate into different portals where we can go and identify. Not that kind of thing. Actually, it's a transmission. They have to transmit that information to us. I have to transmit my response back to them through different platforms, right? Now there are certain challenges, right? Some in EDI, it's high cost, right? Because, and also a partner onboarding. This is exactly what you said, just mentioned. You cannot have an EDI system and say, okay, I'm going to use this EDI technology, because you must onboard your suppliers into this, partners onto the same platform, which is a very tough thing to do, right? Sometimes people may refuse, or there are various things can happen, right? And different technological standards and integrations, all that come into play. So that actually causes heavy challenges when it comes to EDI, right? Right. E-sourcing and e-auctions, right? We will talk about e-auctions, right? E-sourcing means that you select the supplier based on the criteria which I have selected. When it comes to e-auctions, I think you might have learned this one also, right? There are 4 types that we learn. One is English auction, Dutch auction, Japanese auction, and seal bid auctions when it comes to e-auctions, right? Now, there are certain differences in all these ways, but at the end of the day, it's kind of an auction, right? We have a use through digital platforms, right? Now, let's look at the first auction, which is the English. They call it English auction, or they call it reversed auction, right? Now, I have just broken into 4 pieces to compare all these 4 things. That's easy for you to understand. Now, how you bid? What's the format of this English or the reverse auction, right? Now, the suppliers keep on bidding, right? And then bids can be seen, visible to all participants in that bid, right? Now, so what happens is, like, when we decided to purchase, we stop that bid and we buy it from the lowest bid supplier who bids the lowest price, right? So it's very transparent, so everybody can see real time, okay, what supply A bid, supply B bid, and all that. There's no hidden things. It's very transparent, so keep on bidding. Everybody can see the real bidding, and we watch as a customer, we watch it, and then we decide what is the best price or the lowest priced that we can go, we can actually purchase that goods or the service, right? Now, this one is actually, as I mentioned, it's moderate, right? Speed is moderate, right? It continues until we wait until the further reductions come, right? අඩුම ගාන එනකම් අපි බලාගෙන ඉන්නවා. ඒක නිසා ස්පීඩ් එක ගත්තම kind of a moderate, right? මේක හොඳයි best for commodities and standard goods, right? Now what does it this Dutch auction is, right? Now මේකෙදි කරන්නේ අපි price එක පටන් ගන්නවා කස්ටමර් හැටියට. දැන් මම කියනවා මට මේක price එක මම ඉස්සෙල්ලා පටන් ගන්නවා say $10, right? මට මේක ඕන $10 වලට කියන පටන් ගන්න. පටන් අරගෙන frequent intervals වලදී මම මේ price එක drop කරගෙන එනවා. මම මේ price එක drop කරන එක ඒගොල්ලන්ට පේනවා. හැම කෙනාටම පේනවා. මම මේ price එක drop කරන එක හැම කෙනාටම පේනවා. හරිද? එතකොට මේ price එක drop කරගෙන එනකොට ඒක ඉස්සෙල්ලාම accept කරපු කෙනා ඒ bid එක win කරනවා. right? අපි හිතමු මම $10 හිටියා ඊළඟට මේ ඊට පස්සේ මම $8 වලට ආවා $7 වලට ආවා $6 එනකොට එක්කෙනෙක් කිව්වා right මම මේ ගානට දෙන්නම් කියලා කියපු ගාම bid එක ඉවරයි. right? bid එක ඉවරයි එතනින් පස්සේ කතන්දරේ. so ඒක නිසා මේ ඒක frequency එක අඩු කර දැන් ඒක නිසා මේක කියනවා that this is much more faster අපිට හුඟක් ඉක්මනට මොන හරි bits urgent procure කරන්න ඕන නම් මේ auction mode එක අපිට use කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා කියනවා. e-auction mode එක. හරි. so එතකොට because supply කෙනෙක් quote කරපු ගාම කතන්දරේ ඉවරයි. හරි. අපි අඩු කරනවා supply quote කරපු ගාම ඉවරයි. then we have the Japanese auction. the Japanese auction කියලා කියන්නේ දැන් price එක අපි reduce කරගෙන එනවා. $5 sorry $10 right? එතකොට ඔක්කොම සප්ලයර්ස්ලා accept $10 okay. ඊට පස්සේ මම කියනවා right නෑ මේක $10 නෙමෙයි දැන් මම drop කරනවා $8 වලට. දැන් ඔක්කොමලා අපි හිතමු 5 දෙනෙක් සප්ලයර්ස් හිටියනම් 5 දෙනාගෙන් 4 දෙනෙක් තමයි දැන් $8 වලට accept කරන්නේ. දැන් එක්කෙනෙක් drop අනිත් එක්කෙනා drop. ඊළඟට මම කියනවා නෑ මේක මට ඕන $6 වලට. දැන් ඒකෙනුත් ඊට පස්සේ අර හිටපු දෙන්නගෙන් දෙන්නයි තමයි දැන් accept කරන්නේ. ඒතකොට අනිත් දෙන්නත් drop. right? ඊට පස්සේ මම කියනවා නෑ මට මේක $5 වලට ඕන. ඊට පස්සේ ඇවිල්ලා එක්කෙනෙක් accept කරනවා අර අනිත් එක්කෙනා drop. අන්න එහෙම තමයි මේ bidding එක වෙන්නේ. right? එතකොට ඒ participant ට දන්නවා participant පේනවා price එක but ඒ participant දන්නේ අනිත් bid කොහොමද bid කරන්න කියලා පේන්නේ නැහැ. transparent නැහැ. හරිද? එතකොට මේක ගොඩක් slow ඒ වුණාට ගොඩක් structured අපිට අන්තිම මිනිත් එක යනකම් අපිට මේක සෙල්ලම් කරන්න පුළුවන් සප්ලයර්ත් එක්ක. right? so මේ වගේ e-auctions platforms තියෙනවා. මේ platforms වලට තමයි අපි කියන්නේ මේ Japanese auction එක කියලා. හරිද? then the last one is actually sealed bid auctions. අපි ඔක්කොමලා දන්නේ ඒක. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ auction එකේදී අපි කාටවත් visibility එකක් නැහැ. suppliersලා confidentially bid කරනවා. අපි lowest bid එකට අපි දානවා based on our own evaluation which is very low speed. අපිට ඉක්මනටම purchase කරන්න බෑ මේ auctions වලදී. but ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අපි high value ඒ වගේ confidentiality maintain කරන්න ඕන වගේ scenarios වලදී අපි මේ e-auction mode එකත් අපිට use කරන්න පුළුවන්. පැහැදිලිද? So when it comes to e-auctions, these are the electronic auction modes that is available in the market and in the business environments where we can use. So මේ වගේ e-auction modes also we can actually use for our procurement purpose. Clear?
There is no method for the auction like that. We are doing that in temple වෙන්දේසි කරන්නේ මල් වට්ටිය ඉන්ක්‍රීස් කරගෙන යන්නේ උඩට.
උඩට කරගෙන යන මෝඩ් එක නැහැ. දැන් මොකද අපිට ගන්න අපිනේ ගන්න යන්නේ. ඒතකොට අපි ගන්න යනකොට අපි එකට අඩු වෙන්න ගන්න ඕන. ඒතර අනිත් පැත්තට නෑ. මේක බලන්නේ අපි ගන්න මොඩ්.
ටෙන්ඩරින් එකේ තියෙනවානේ. දැන් ටෙන්ඩරින් එකේ කියන්නේ ඒ කියන්නේ ඔප්ෂන් එක ඒ කියන්නේ තියෙන බඩු ටික විකුණනකොට.
ඔව්.
එතනදී තියෙනවා නේද?
එතනදී තියෙනවා. Now this is what we are talking. We are procuring no. We are not selling no. තේරෙනවද මං කියන්නේ? So we are not selling something, we are procuring something. So when we are procuring, it's always we procure to the lowest bid, no? Agree?
So in this case, sometimes that when that e-auction, I mean e-auction for the English auction, maybe the sometime that most some companies like which they have overhead more, maybe they are giving very good outcomes. Even that time they cannot match with that some companies who they don't have that much of overhead.
Absolutely. 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 Now, I understand where you're coming from. So what you're saying is, okay, අපිට කෙනෙක් ඉන්න පුළුවන් company A, ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ quality එක හොඳයි, ඔක්කොම හොඳයි, මේව ඔක්කොම හොඳයි, but එයාගේ price එක match එයාට match කරන්න බැරුව යන්න පුළුවන් English bidding or reverse bidding වල company supply එකට මොකද supplier B ගේ price එක අඩුයි. නමුත් quality and the delivery and all that maybe not as much as good as possible. But now අන්න එතන තමයි අපිට entire procurement process එකේ අපිට එන්නේ S2C certain functionalities as well as SRM functionality, supplier relationship management functionality. මොකද එතනදී සමහරලාට අපිට තීරණය කරන්න වෙනවා මේක lowest bidding එක උනාට, right? එතකොට ඒ auction එකට ගන්න scenario, ඒ කියන්නේ ගන්න suppliers ලා කවුද? ඒකනේ මම අර කිව්වේ SRM වලදී අපි supplier categorize කරනවා කියලා. Certain price වලට, quality එකට, certain criteria වලට we do categorization. So it is very much important that, I mean, these are different right, e-auctions, no, auction methods, no, either අපි මේ use කරනකොට, but you must have a strategy. How are we going to, which suppliers that we are going to bring in to this strategy, this particular auction කියන එක ඔයා decide කරන්න ඕනේ based on your S2C and SRM procurement process. ඔයාලට මම කියන එක පැහැදිලිද?
ඒ කියන්නේ selective supplier, we are selecting from selective suppliers.
අන්න හරි. ඒකට තමයි අපි අර ඒ process ටික එතන implement කරලා තියෙන්නේ procurement process එක ඇතුලේ. හරිද? ඒ කියන්නේ අපි all Tom and Dick and Harry අපි නිකන් open කරලා ඕන එකට code කරන්න කියන එහෙම කියන්න බෑ, right? එහෙම තමයි ගොඩක් වෙන්නේ, but why we have implemented those S2C process and also SRM process is purely for this. එතකොට ඔයා bid එකකට call කරනකොට ඔයා bid එකට call කරන්න බෑ නිකන් හැම කෙනාම. හරිද? එතකොට ඔයාගේ ඒ SRM වලින් දෙන information ඔයා decide කරලා හරි කෙනෙක්ව මොන category එකද මං ගන්නෙ, මොන price range එකද මං ගන්නෙ, මොන delivery quality range එක තියෙන කට්ටියද මං ගන්නෙ කියන එක ගත්තොත් ගොඩක් වෙලාට ඔයා ඔය කියපු disparity එක එන්නේ නැහැ. If you don't follow the entire process of procurement, right, then ඔයා කියපු කතන්දරේ එනවා definitely. That means higher හොඳ quality එකක් තියෙන හොඳ deliver කරන supplier කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා, but his cost is bit higher than the other one, which is not the quality is poor and then the delivery is not good. එන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, am I clear?
Yes sir, yeah, clear.
ඒක තමයි procurement process එක follow කරන්න ඕන කියන්නේ. Right? So now these are some of the things that you must understand when it comes to e-auctions. Then obviously the information visibility of the things which I am not going to thoroughly discuss. I wanted to just quickly touch base because that is there in e-commerce, about e-commerce. Now e-commerce කියලා අපි ගොඩක් වෙලාට ඔළුවේ තියාගෙන e-commerce කියලා අපි හිතාන්නේ online මොකක් හරි purchase කරනවා කියන එක, right? That's what our general understanding, if you really look at. That means අපි දරාස් එකේ මොකක් හරි ගන්නවා, නැත්නම් තෙමු එකේ මොකක් හරි ගන්නවා, නැත්නම් Amazon එකේ මොන හරි ගන්නවා. ඒක තමයි අපි හිතාන්නේ this is what the e-commerce is. That is not the e-commerce, right? E-commerce is basically it's more than online shopping. හරි? ඒකේ ගොඩක් අපි digital ecosystem එකක් තියෙනවා. Faster transaction වෙන ද e-commerce කියලා ගත්තම e-commerce models කීපයක් තියෙනවා. අපි ඒ ගැන ලොකුවට detail බලන්න නැති වුණාට we must have a very basic understanding of these e-commerce models, because e-commerce කියන එක මට පැහැදිලිව කියන්න ඕනේ e-commerce කියන්නේ නිකන් අපි online digital purchase කරනවා කියන එක නෙමෙයි, right? There are different models of e-commerce, right? So one is actually B2B. B2B means business to business transactions, right? Now these are very complex transactions. Now for example, if you look at අපි හිතමුකෝ business to business, ඒ කියන්නේ අපි මෙහෙම ගමු. අපි හිතමුකෝ අපි manufacture කරනවා, right? අපේ company එකේ manufacture කරනවා, we are manufacturing garments, apparel, right? So we manufacture apparel and Amazon they actually purchase from our manufactured goods, garments, right? Now that is actually a business to business transaction, right? Business to business transaction, right? So that kind of things also can happen, like kind of these kind of online platforms, e-commerce platforms, right? The Alibaba ගන්න Alibaba ගොඩක් ඒ කේස් එක තියෙනවා. Alibaba එක ගත්තොත් එහෙම ඒකේ ඒගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා ඒගොල්ලෝ අනිත් පැත්තේ ඉන්නේ manufacturer කෙනෙක්, right? අපි ගොඩක් ගන්නේ තොග bulk නේ ගන්නේ Alibaba එකේ ගොඩක් වෙලාට transaction වෙන්නේ bulks, right? So ඒගොල්ලෝ manufacture කරනවා bulks and මේ පැත්තේ කවුරුරි business එකක් තියෙන කෙනෙක් අපි bulk කරන් අපි විකුණනවා. ඒකයි අපි කරන්නේ, right? So that is actually business to business transaction, B2B commerce, B2B e-commerce model එක. හරි? And the second model is actually B2C, business to consumer. මේක තමයි දැන් අපි ගොඩක් කරාට බලන්න. අපි ගොඩක් කරාට කියන්නේ අපි Amazon වලින් purchase කරනවා, නැත්නම් Temu එකෙන් purchase කරනවා, Daraz purchase කරනවා. That is actually business to consumer transactions ගොඩක් කරාට ඒ විදිහට සිද්ධ වෙනවා, right? Now there are certain other platforms where consumer to consumer. ඒ කියන්නේ business එකක් නෙමෙයි, right? දැන් සමහර රටවල දැන් now I have an iPhone which I bought from overseas. I wanted to sell it. I'm not a business, but I'm a person, right? I'm a consumer, but I wanted to sell something for somebody else, right? So that also is there, right? So that model is actually C2C, consumer to consumer model, right? Through digital or e-platforms that is happening, right? And then the other model is actually business to government. Like this is mainly it's given, right? It's specialized. Certain things actually sell to certain government organizations. That's what it. So when it comes to e-commerce, what you have to keep in mind is, like, I don't want to bombard you with a lot of information, but what you have to keep in mind is e-commerce is not just purchasing something online, right? It has different models that you need to be able to understand and identify what is the model that I'm actually operating on, right? So when it comes to your like kind of public procurement kind of scenario, it has to be mostly, I think it's a B2G, business to government scenarios can apply when it comes to e-commerce platforms, right? See, now these are some of the roles in e-commerce. I'm not going to read out, right? I'll share this deck with you so you can go through, right? You can learn for yourself. Then we quickly look at the characteristics. Like, so characteristics, like what are the certain characteristics? Like you have certain catalog management. What do you mean by catalog management, right? That means අපි ගොඩක් කලාට අපි බලන්න අපි ගොඩක් කලාට e-commerce platform එකට ගියාම අපිට පුළුවන් certain දේවල් අපේ certain filterations වලට ඒගොල්ලෝ identify කරලා දෙනවා මේක තමයි මට අවශ්‍ය කරන product එක, right? So you catalog certain products, right? So that is very important when it comes to e-commerce, right? E-commerce platforms, right? And also pricing and inventory control. They have to ensure that the pricing and the inventories are available and the pricing is matching to the competition and all that different things that you need to work on. And also the order management, how you ship, how you take the order, how you process the payment, and how you deliver the order, how you manage your complaints and all that, and also the user experience, which comes to reviews, comments, and then different levels of accessibility and all that. I'm not going to dive into detail with interest of time, but these are some of the things that you need to keep in mind. Main thing is that when it comes to e-commerce, you need to keep in mind e-commerce is not just purchasing something online, right?
The real-time update is there when we are working with e-commerce.
Exactly, that's right. That's what it comes to, mainly the pricing and inventory, because you need that information real time. Otherwise, you won't be able to refill things. You won't be able to manage lower stock levels, etc. All, I mean, there are many controls and mechanisms also. Uh, uh, yeah, I'll just skip these things. Yeah. So in summary, what I wanted to actually take your mind in this particular model, even though it's very short one, it's just one session. It's purely for us to give you a little bit of a flavor. Now, you have learned what is procurement, right? Now, how to bring this technology and how to bring these systems in order for us to cater this the procurement process. Keep in mind, the thing that I wanted to have you is, it is not to digitize or digitalize the procurement process, right? It is to uh, like digitally transform the procurement process, which actually have a greater impact on your overall business perspective, right? So that's why I started with that part and started explaining you different parts of elements of these systems and the technologies that we currently available. And I wanted to highlight you about the difference between an ERP system as well as on specific technology stacks for uh, a procurement functionality, right? Mainly to break into three functionalities. One is to S2C, P2P, and also SRM functionalities, which is actually covers the entire landscape of a procurement, right? And I wanted to touch base some of the technologies that they have in order for us to communicate with our suppliers and customers, which is EDI and kind of e-auctioning and all those kind of functionality. And also e-commerce, where we can purchase things online, but it is not the e-commerce is not just purchasing something online. There are different models, operates in different capabilities. So where you have to explore more. So the idea is that I won't be able, it's not the idea to give everything and feed you overflow with information within this 2.5 or 3 hours. I just gave you some information, gave you some points, gave you some thoughts where you can explore and where you can learn more and probably get use of it in your procurement journey. So that's all that I have in that. So if you have any questions in this, you can always reach out, or even if you want any support in this journey in your supply chain public procurement, you can always reach out, because my specialization is only mainly on supply chain management, so I can help you with. If you decide to pick change management, probably we'll meet again in length for that module. That's an optional module for you. So if you pick up that, we'll meet. If not, sometimes we may meet in your final dissertation. So I may come as your supervisor. I don't know. That depends on the unit. So that's about it. So I'm always reachable. You can come to me for any questions or support or help. Any questions or anything to tell? Or
Sir, that you said that EDI system is now not popular. What is that
yes.
system? It is popular now currently.
Now mainly we are talking about portals, right? Supply or customer portals. That means like there's no now EDI is always, as I said, there is you pick certain information from one system and you transmit that information through a platform, and then somebody receives that information through that platform into their system, right? Now it is now the trend is more like you open up through certain portals, you actually publish your information in that portal instead of transmitting real time. You publish that. Now EDI, if you really look at EDI, still works on a kind of batch system, right? You create certain set of purchase orders, a customer creates certain set of purchase orders, and they send it uh, every day in a particular time. So the other party, they pick that information in a particular time, process it, and likewise. But now real-time customer portals, right, is available right now. That's the trend, where say that if customer enables certain information from their system to the portal, I can, as a supplier, I can just go and look at straight away. I can go and look at that information. And not only that, now there are certain suppliers we work with, right? We work with. They have opened up their system through a portal where we can go and raise our purchase order in their portal, right? So there's no transmission of information. We straight entering my purchase order into their system through a portal, right? So it's more connected than the transmission of information into different platforms. So that's why I said,
yeah,
go ahead.
sorry, sir. No, that way, which mean that we are selecting. I mean, let's say that their website, and in that website, there we will select one window, and we will put that details on there, like that.
Something like that, so it could be on a website or any other form. They will enable a portal for us where we go and see, we can manipulate, we can just enter all that information directly into their systems or into our systems. That's vice versa, both ways. Now, as I said, there's our existing suppliers. There are certain suppliers, they have enabled certain portals. Now, in our purchasing department, they don't send a separate purchase order from our system. What they do is, like what we currently entering into our system, we just go and enter information into the portal, which actually goes into their system, and they process it. That's what they do.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else, or we can wrap up? So I'll leave you a little early, half an hour early.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right. Oh,
Thank you, sir.
okay.
So
Thank you
what
then.
kind of question you will ask in our exam is next week?
Unfortunately,
any
unfortunately,
I mean any
I'm not the one who's preparing your paper for this module. If you ask
okay.
me, for change management for that module, then that is I'm preparing. So I usually used to give that to the students. But unfortunately, this one I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. So since that you have your exam only, that they want me to somehow finish it this week. So that's why yesterday I couldn't, because there was a power failure in my area that time. So that's why I said, okay, I'll do it today and finish it off because you have an exam. But I'm pretty much sure, even if they ask certain questions on this line, it's very simple. I mean, you just answer what you know. That's all.
Okay, sir.
All right. If you have any questions, just reach out. I have your my email ID, and this is my WhatsApp number is the same thing. So you just send me a message or text me. I just respond. Yeah. So
Thank
good
you,
luck.
sir. Good night.
Hopefully we meet again. Yeah. Good night.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for your lesson. Thank you. Good night. Bye.
Bye.